Hi everyone, it's Roger here and Abe from episode number 36 of the Disney Infinity and Beyond webcast presented by DisKingdom.com. Well, a little bit of news this week, including some new challenges and some Toy Box Tales, a little bit of a discussion maybe about sort of fake information, etc. But our main discussion point of the week is going to be about mobile devices and Disney Infinity. So that's kind of going to be a refrun. So I'm going to kick this straight over to Abe. And you had a good week, Abe?
Yeah, everything was great. Happy Easter, everybody. I had a good Easter today. I know it's Monday in the UK, so obviously that was yesterday, or I don't even know if it's all on the same days. But anyways, yeah. Happy Easter, everybody. It was good. How about you, Roger? How was your week?
Yeah, yes, nice and busy. Easter's always a good sort of start to the season, so really excited to kick off. And we've had quite a lot of sort of toy box news this week. Lots of sort of we've had these new the new Toy Box Tales. Have you managed to try this one out?
Yeah, I actually played the first stage. It's pretty interesting. Are we just gonna dive right into it and just talk about it?
Let's go straight for it.
All right. Toy Box Tales. Well, for all those who don't know what we're talking about, the Disney development team or the Toy Box artists who were hired to be part of the team, they just released something that they talked about for a while, which is Toy Box Tales, which is exactly what you and I were saying it would be, Roger, which is just a toy box that has a bunch of other toy boxes connected to it. And it looks like they're releasing it in stages, which is kind of interesting. Right now, there's like an interior that it's like, I guess like it's a central hub, and there's 3 stages. One thing that I noticed about that central hub, I don't know, I don't have all my interior toys unlocked yet, but that lock, that gate that you saw, that you can't enter the other rooms, is that like a new toy that we've never seen before, or is that something that can be unlocked?
No, the door locks. It depends on the theming of the room. Changes the look of the lock, because you can lock every door in an interior, but obviously if you change the theme of the room, it changes the door as well.
Oh, that's cool. Well, you can tell how much I use the interiors. So, but that's cool. So I learned something new there. But anyways, so I decided to pop on my Thor figure and ran around there. Cool little interior. It has 3 doors, actually 4 doors. The door behind you kind of teaches you again what the whole thing is about. But I went to the first stage, did it. You know, I don't want to say I'm extremely impressed, but I don't want to say it's bad either. It was kind of cool. Most of the logic worked perfectly. There was a couple of times that I noticed that they did invisible walls where you couldn't go into part of the turbines, and that was part of the 3rd challenge. But I flew under them and went in, so that's the only flaw to them. But anyways, I figured it out afterwards. I saw how there was an order to it. But otherwise, it's cool. It's a nice little concept. It's something nice and new and cool that Infinity is doing something for the players. But am I going crazy over it? Like, oh my god, this is amazing! It's like the replacement to my playsets. No, not really. What about you, Roger? What do you think about them?
Yeah, went through and played through the first one. You'll find the actual playthrough video on the YouTube channel, and you'll see that I actually got stuck. There was a point where I was supposed to find Vision, and I couldn't find him, and got a bit lost. So that kind of put me into that zone of this is just a toy box, and that is kind of pretty much kind of how it is. It's just simply a toy box that I love the idea of them doing the Toy Box Tales. I love the idea that they're gonna I love the idea that they're going to do something like this, episodic sort of toy boxes, more mission given, etc. I love the fact that Disney are making the toy boxes a tool. I think it's important that they do this to encourage people to create them, but also to give content, official Disney content, to people, because there's a lot of people that won't download anything that they don't see as official.
Right.
I think apparently this toy box got made quite a while ago. It's not a sort of I think Papa Echo made it quite a while ago, and I think it's this kind of thing of, I think that the way they were selling it was maybe a little bit more than it actually was, because to sort of say, oh, it's, they kind of put out this thing, oh, we're bringing in Toy Box Tales and this episodic kind of, like, it's just a toy box that Disney have made, and it'll be interesting to see where they go. It's been one of those odd things, I think. with those toy box artists, they they've been they the last I think they've been working a lot more on maybe future projects than building for 2.0. As there doesn't seem to have been a lot of toy boxes. I mean, they've been making the blueprints each week, and also the odd sort of special toy box. But yeah, it's been good to see sort of a full proper toy box that has really been sort of fleshed out from them. But yeah, like I said, it's one of those things that I'm just kind of slide this into the weekly toy box challenge, and it will just be a new toy box each week.
You know, Roger. I mean, I kind of agree with what you're saying. Like, it's cool that they're doing that, but to me, I mean, you used the word full toy box. It didn't feel full to me. The fact that it's episodic, it's like, here's part one. We'll give you part two and part three later. I think they should do it where they give you all three parts on this toy box sales, and they give you a brand new one. You know what I mean? But it almost feels like it's a little short, in my opinion. It doesn't feel full, because from my understanding, it was going to be a toy box that's connected to another toy box, connected to another one, and it's just one toy box connected to another toy box. Play through it. Wait till we release the next one. I guess that's where my that was where my hopes were kind of destroyed there, because I thought it was going to be a little bit longer. I guess what I was expecting it was finally to see what they've been saying, how this could be your replacement to your playsets. Like, it didn't feel like there was enough play value. I went through it in like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I guess. 10 minutes because I also sort of got lost finding vision, but eventually I saw there was another walkway going down. But anyways, yeah, I guess it left me wanting more, and I guess it makes sense since that's why there's a to be continued. But I think it left me wanting more because it said the to be continued. Yeah. I can't play anything more right now, so.
I think that's it. I mean, in all honesty, I would just look at this as this is just a toy box, and maybe our expectations were slightly higher for it, and that's why we were a bit like, was that it? Because I think we were expecting maybe something different, maybe something that we hadn't seen before, and it was just a toy box. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is a long-term project. It gives us lots of content for the next few months while we're waiting for stuff. But where does it go into 3.0 or whatever they're going to call it? If this is something that they're going to continue to do on, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think they're making proper toy boxes that people can sort of play through is a bad thing. And I think they've been lacking in that overall. I don't think they've been letting the community make them, but I don't think they've been making enough of their own content.
I mean, not to talk bad about them, but to be honest with you, it's for them to advertise this, Toy Box Tales thing, like it's a big thing, and again, no disrespect to Papa Echo, because I love the stuff he does, and this toy box is cool too, but to be honest with you, and I'm not tooting your horn either, Roger, but I mean, the community has dished out better toy boxes than that. So, I mean, again, no disrespect there to anybody from the toy box building team that works for Disney. But anyways, that's just my opinion. I felt like I wanted more. I mean, I got way more out of your best racing toy box that was voted for years from the Gravity Falls with the golf cart and jumping through the hoops. I honestly felt like I had more gameplay there than I did at this what do you call it, the Toy Box Tales thing. But
yeah, I mean, I think as well as that is the only other side is I think the community obviously they might have more time, but there's this other thing going. If I've employed 5 toy box artists to do this full time, I think everyone's expectations are, well, if you're getting paid to do it and you're doing it full time, everyone kind of assumes that it would be better than a community which are doing it in their hobbies. But I think when people are doing it in their hobbies, the passion and there's no if they don't make the toy box on time or they don't do it, there's no problem. Whereas obviously if you're working for Disney, you've got deadlines. They've probably got they're working on other projects. They're working on other things we don't know about. Then this is the difference of the community versus the I don't mind having short toy boxes from Disney that you can just go on and play. Like this week they did, I think, some Yogscast toy boxes that you could play. short little mini games. Perfect for people to jump in and just play. Those are perfect toy boxes for that. But I think the Toy Box Tales was something that they maybe built a little bit of expectations for, and I don't know.
They overhyped it a little bit.
Maybe, yeah. If they just put that out as a toy box and
Yeah.
never even mentioned it, I think that no one would have been quite as sort of as. And I think that's honestly for me. If they shouldn't have maybe mentioned it as.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was the best said.
Because I think at that event a few months ago when they said, "Oh, we've got Toy Box Tales coming, it's episodic." Like, no, it's just a toy box. You've tried to hype it more than it was. So, and if that toy box, like instead of being called Toy Box Tales, was just Avengers Helicarrier toy box, everyone would have been like, "Yeah, it's a cool toy box," and that would have been everyone would have been quite happy with that and carried on. But I think they tried to make it into something that maybe it wasn't, and that's kind of where a little bit of disappointment from a lot of community members have come from.
I was going to say I completely agree with your statement there. If they would have just released it as a toy box, I would have been happy. But since it was overhyped, I wanted more. So, anyways, good sentence there.
Yeah. They've also announced the challenges for the following few weeks. So I'm just going to run through this one. So the current week challenge is the pick a character. So you're going to make a toy box inspired by your favorite Disney Infinity character. Include the name of the character you choose in the toy box or description.
Please, people, don't do Sam and Cora, because that would be so mean to all the comments.
Yeah, JV saying that was cruel. I mean, yeah, and he knew he was going to get some heat for that. But yeah, that would be good. It would be a good way of publicizing it. It's like, yeah, the #1 toy box of the week. Console players can't use it. We've also got the stunt course toy box. That's next week's one. We've also then got after that the Darkwing Duck challenge.
Ooh.
So that could be interesting. And
might be dangerous.
Yeah, and then we've got the puzzle week, which is going to be that's an interesting one. I'm gonna I know there's some of the toy box artists are really going to go in puzzles, and I think that will get some of them. That could be an interesting week for some different type of toy boxes. And then finally, it's going to be the Tomorrowland Phase 3. So you've got the choice of building Buzz Lightyear, Astro Blasters, Star Tours, Space Mountain, Utopia, and Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage.
Excuse me.
So those are the challenges. So you're going to pick your hand into any of them?
I don't know, the Darkwing Duck one. I'm kind of tempted to get dangerous there.
Well, you've got 2 weeks to kind of start work on it. Yeah.
I got a little excited there. Sorry.
Yeah. You go, Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck just killed me almost.
I'm currently doing the pick a character one. I decided to throw my hat into doing a Black Widow toy box.
Oh, look at you using a character you don't use all the time.
Exactly. That was that was exactly what I was thinking. Well, what character do I use? Which I never use. I barely use, and I thought, well, she's in the starter pack. Let's try something. Let's try doing something a bit different. That's what I like to do with my toy boxes. I like to try and do stuff sometimes that is maybe a little bit different, a little bit which has got me excited about the stunt course toy box. So I'll start that on Wednesday night. Yeah, I just like the idea of trying something different and trying kind of my hand, because it's very easy to kind of get caught up in doing the same sort of thing. So I do try to kind of do something myself to make it feel a bit fresh and new. But yeah, Tomorrowland, I think that's going to be interesting. Lots of toy box artists love doing the Disneyland items. It's just bad. I feel bad. There's only going to be one Star Tours toy box.
Yeah,
that's going to be a hard one to do. I'm wondering if I should resubmit my old Utopia toy box, which I uploaded once and forgot and it didn't upload the name or the.
Oh, that's right. You should totally try it.
It's just like yeah. It was kind of one of those rushed toy boxes that I don't really. Yeah, that was.
You can look at it and now.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I love the fact that they give these the details out on these 4 or 5 week challenges. Really makes the community a lot more. The toy box artists love knowing what's coming up. So, like now, someone might say, right, I'm going to do Utopia, and they might try and spend 3-4 weeks doing it to make a really cool toy box. And I expect some people maybe have already started work on those Disneyland ones.
Yeah.
Because they've got like 4 or 5 weeks to build on it, and they can just keep building and building. Rather than I think also there's a little bit of Summit fever coming in with a lot of people trying to get as many in as possible, but also some people now are starting to get a little bit burnt out because it's been 6 months since the release, and making weekly toy boxes can be quite tiring. So
I got tiring after one, and I didn't even get picked part of the top 5. So it was a fun toy box. I really was hoping people would try it out. So well.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. I think the pick a character toy box is one of those ones that I've seen a lot of people are interested in. I think it's kind of ties in directly into people wanting to make like the adventures that we saw in those first games.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that they really misstepped with. I still think that was something that they should have carried on going forward with, to allow a little bit more. If you had a list of adventures, and you had sort of Disney and every single character had a few toy boxes that only they could use specifically for them, I think it would have been a selling point to the figures.
Yeah.
Or they have exclusive content that you can't get, but that's on to someone else. Okay, so anything else you want to add on to those weekly challenges?
No, I agree with you. It's getting a little. I can see a lot of people, different names up there a lot, so I feel like some people are getting burnt out a little bit. So hopefully we'll still get some really cool toy boxes regardless of the fact. So
I'm under no doubt we'll have good toy boxes right through till 2.0's kind of life is over, and it might be a while yet because obviously we've still got 2 versions still yet to be released.
Yeah, I know.
We'll talk about that in a bit. So just finishing off the toy box stuff. This week's top 5 was Asgard. So it's all about Loki and Falcon. So Loki and Thor, I should say. This week's top toy boxes was Asgard Arcade by Tucker Nuhu, Defeat the Frost Giants and the Dark Elves, and we also had Thor's Destiny B by Sonic Photo. He's been on a bit of a roll lately. Be got in a 3-chapter story. Loki versus Asgard is a bonus level of Assault on Asgard. Can you defeat him? And then we had Asgard's Fall Quest, which is chapter 1. Average playtime 45 to 60 minutes for that toy box. That's a big toy box. And then Asgard, God of Thunder, God of Mischief by the Baroness. Whose side are you on in this multi-challenge toy box? 1 player only. I will admit I've only got to play through I think it was the Loki versus Asgard toy box, mainly because there was quite a few. There was these 2 Yogscast ones from Disney, and there was also this Toy Box Tales. So by the time I'd gone through like a few of the official Disney ones, I was kind of running out of time. But hopefully tomorrow I'll run through those other toy boxes as well. You get to play any of them this week?
No, just like you, I just play the Disney ones. But I am kind of intrigued on that 45 to 60 minute toy box that you just mentioned, so I might check that one out. What was that one again?
Oh, yeah, just close the window.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's done by CC Runner.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Thank you, CC Runner. I have something to do now.
Yes. Well, that's it now, isn't it? Like, and there was, I think Sonic Photos one was like a 3-chapter toy box. This is what we were saying. It's like, these are just out there for people to be sort of doing straight away. So that's always good. Right. This week there's been a couple of quick things come up that not only are we putting this into the rumor category, we're really putting this. If we had some other myths at this precise minute, we'd kind of put them on at this precise and just stand there with them on. There's been a few kind of it's just before the announcement of the next game. There's a lot of kind of sneak peeks, people trying to kind of do fakes. There's kind of a lot of sort of bad information floating around. Only yesterday I saw a picture of what was supposed to be I can't even think what's the character's name.
It's like a demon nacho
Yeah,
from Gravity
the
Falls.
demon archer from Gravity Falls. I know we're gonna have a lot of people now going. Oh. There was a picture of that saying this is from 3.0. Well, first off, there was like bad capitalization of the text. The picture didn't even look right. We're gonna see a lot of this kind of thing over the next few months of people going, oh, this is in 3.0. No source, just some random picture. There was also something on Wikipedia about the woman from Ariel that she's doing a voiceover for the Little
Joy
Mermaid.
Dotson. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just kind of one thing that we're just going to be very open with straight away. This is not confirmed. It's nothing. Wikipedia, anybody can update. So if I wanted to go in there and put Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Batman, I can do that. Obviously, someone can take it down, but it can be changed and be made to do anything. So we're treating everything like this just as fakes. It doesn't. We're not, unless it's actually confirmed by Disney or or maybe, for example, we put up a story on the website. We generally treat anything like this suspicious at first. We usually double check. We go through a couple of sources just to make sure that information is correct. But it's that time of the year.
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole Ariel thing. That's completely rumor. I wouldn't put it in the fake category. Definitely rumor though, and like Roger said, anybody could change Wikipedia, so don't trust Wikipedia ever. And the only reason why I say rumor too is because Jack Blackburn has also brought it up, saying that if they were to ever do it, it would be through a playset. But the fact that they mention it adds to rumor. Also, the nacho thing, the demon nacho. You gotta stop and think for a second, regardless of the fact of how hard you look at the picture or the text. You really think Disney would pick out of all the characters in Gravity Falls an evil Nacho to make a figure out of? I don't think so. So that's just a no-brainer there. And then also keep in mind, guys, we're barely in the beginning of April. There's things called April Fool's jokes that clearly some people can't take, because I even had one. No, there's no Frozen Fever playset or anything coming. That was all April Fools. It was even on the picture. But again, these are all rumors. Until we say Disney has confirmed or Disney has announced, take those pieces of info as credible sources. Roger and I speculate all the time. Or sometimes we get it right, but that doesn't mean we're confirming anything. But once we say Disney has announced or confirmed, that's when you want to be excited. So, but anyways, just keep that in mind, folks. We don't want you guys to feel like you're being betrayed or heartbroken by anybody. So, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, especially as well. Like this week is horrendous for sort of bad news stuff with all the April Fools.
Exactly.
And the problem with the April Fools stuff is that on April Fool's Day, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's funny." But 2-3 days later, it starts feeding out what maybe someone shared it. Someone's going, "Oh, that's," and suddenly it loses that effect of it suddenly being an April Fool's because it's now being read days later and people have forgot about April Fools and people are sharing it. So it's always a bit of an odd time of the year. Yeah. Or you could just be like Nintendo and just put a big announcement date right in the middle of it and just go, we're bringing out all of this stuff, and you go, really?
Yeah, on April Fool's Day, it's like, are they playing with us? No.
They're going to bring out soft toy amiibos.
Yeah, that's another thing that, man. You know what? I know this is not in our itinerary of conversations, but let's bring this up a little bit. Aside from their conference that they had, and they announced tons of new amiibos again, but when that happened, the next couple days they had pre-orders come out. And no joke, Nintendo is doing this for themselves and not for their fans because they broke the GameStop website. People were lined up to pre-order these amiibos, and they couldn't order it for a whole hour because they broke the whole intranet that they have. But anyways, guys, stick with Infinity. You'll always find whatever figure you want. Even if you're still looking for that Syndrome, trust me, you'll find them eventually, and you don't have to pay $50+ for him. If somebody's selling him for that much, don't buy it. You will find them. So, anyways, that was my rant on that.
Yeah, I mean, JV even said recently on the game trailers that Disney's feeling for like making things hard to find. They're not going down that route. They want it to be accessible everywhere. It's like this thing with like, I mean, the idea that you've got that I didn't know the GameStop website had broken down.
Yeah.
The idea that people are that interested in getting those figures and those characters that they are bringing down stores and the websites and they're queuing up. That's something you know. There's in a different league. I mean, Amiibo is just huge right now. I mean, there's no point in denying it.
But no, but hold on, Roger. Let's specify that a little bit. Amiibo is popular, yes, but the only reason why they're popular, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the only reason why they're popular is because everybody wants them, and the reason why everybody wants them is because they are so limited. They're not printing that many. They're making so few. So because they're so very little, I can't go out tomorrow and say, you know what? I see that there's a Jigglypuff on the shelf. I'll pick it up later. You know, I don't have to buy it now. No, you have to get it even before it comes out, or else you'll never ever get it, unless you want to pay somebody in eBay like 5 or 6 times whatever it costs. But it's as opposed to Disney, it's like, okay, I have all the Guardians of the Galaxy figures, but I still don't have Ronin. But I really want to get Loki. You know what? Let me just go ahead. I know Ronin will be there, but I'm gonna get Loki today because I really want Loki. You don't have that mentality with Amiibos. That's why they're so popular. It's because you can't get them. Nintendo doesn't care about printing more. People have already reached out to them, sent dirty emails on stuff. They don't care about printing more. But again, anyway, it's a totally different subject. You guys, whoever's listening, probably don't even care about Amiibos. Don't waste your time. It's all about infinity, and not to mention, you know, not to say anything or spoilers or anything like that, but from what we've heard, you know, there's a lot of awesome things coming. And I mean, come on, the land speeder, that's the lightsaber. It's just, the game has a lot of great things coming. So
Yeah.
just be happy for that. Don't dive into another money pit.
No. Right. So the next, our major features topic of the week is going to be basically about mobile devices. There's been obviously a lot of talk recently with the iOS version coming out. We've got the new Windows tablet version coming up, or that's just come out, and you've got Android that is coming out soon, and the PS Vita version is coming out next month as well. So we briefly touched on this last week. So we thought we'd do like a whole sort of discussion really about mobile and how it affects Disney Infinity, what benefits it's got, disadvantages, and just have a bit of a discussion about it. So feel free to chime in with your comments below. You can always, we always love to hear people's discussions, and you know, you can always do that as a bit of feedback. So first off, I'm gonna be, you know, I've played 2.0 on my iPad. I've also played 1.0 on my iPad. I've played them on my. I've tried playing 2.0 on my PCs, on my 2 laptops. I'm gonna put this straight out of the way with the laptop versions. My laptops couldn't barely run it. Neither one of them really struggled with running the game. I think you needed a much. And I've just got, you know, 2 normal standard laptops that I picked up in the store. They're only like 2 years old, but it just can't. They can't even place one item within a toy box. So that's my issue with the PC one. But yeah, so just putting that out there, and I am now going to put my hands up. I did accidentally buy a PS Vita on eBay yesterday.
Accidentally?
I accidentally went, ooh!
Explain accidentally.
Yeah. There was one up for bid with Lego Star Wars and the Disney pack with like 6 games on it. Ooh, how much? Bid. Oops, I won that. And like,
did you hit buy it now instead of bid?
No, I bid. I sniped in at the last minute and thought, oops. Yeah, so I have got a Vita coming in the post now, and I am probably very likely to be picking up the Vita version of 2.0. Yeah. The main reason I'm doing this is for 2 things. First off, I've been finding the iPad version a little bit clunky. and also it has completely filled my iPad up, and I can't play anything else. I can't do anything else on my iPad without it just filling up. And also with the Vita version, I like the idea that I'm going to be able to play it properly either through the game, or I can use the remote play with the PlayStation 4 as I'm sat watching TV. And I think having the actual proper buttons will be a lot easier to use than the iPad version, and also means I can clear off my iPad version, and even though I've brought Cora and all the rest of it. But yeah, so I will be getting the Vita version and trying it out and basically trying to use it properly, because you got a few months before the next version comes in. So I thought, sod it, it's there. Why not? I thought this is the thing with the iPad version. I did buy my iPad to play games, but it's big games like Infinity. Just I don't think can handle it very well.
Are you gonna play the Disney Infinity Apple Watch version? It's gonna be pretty interesting.
No.
I just made that.
Yeah.
But if you thought it was hard to play it on your iPad, imagine you playing it on the Apple Watch.
I'm trying to build.
Come on, Cora. I played 1.0 a long time ago on the PC, and I did demo 2.0 on the PC as well when I went to the what was it called, the life something, the 24-hour video game event, whatever. Not on iPad, not on Android, obviously, because it's not out yet. Vita, I don't know if I'm gonna accidentally buy one anytime soon, but we'll see. It just depends, you know. But yeah, let's dive into this. What's the first topic regarding the mobile gaming?
Yeah, I mean, to me, one of the biggest aspects with the mobile thing is this free-to-play versus the console version.
Got it.
You can download it for free on PC. You can download it for free on iOS. Android will probably be the same. Vita is in the console section. So the fact that it is all done like this as a free-to-play changes the game, in my view. Most mobile games are free-to-play, and if you want, and you have very limited life, little things, and they make you buy purchases as you go along. They get you hooked, and then gradually try and get you to pay a bit later on. I know, like if I'm playing like Frozen Fever, or if the Frozen Freefall, or Zum Zum, something like that, they're kind of constantly bugging you to buy stuff, but they still let you play it, or you use up your lives and you've got to wait a day before you can play it. So Infinity kind of worked in a different light for that exact reason. So what do you think on like the difference between the free-to-play and the console?
Look, I mean, I get it. I'm a little indifferent on this subject, and the only reason why I say this, and it's no disrespect to the iOS players or the even. I honestly think that the PC version has evolved because it was brought onto the iOS, and now it's gonna be Android. But again, no disrespect to anybody who plays it this way, but I honestly feel Infinity was created for consoles, and I don't know if Infinity works as a free-to-play game. That's just my opinion. Again, please, like I'm going to say it one more time, don't get offended by it, but I don't feel like it works. It's unfair, at least, for me to say, for them to say that Infinity is most played on PC or iOS, but that's not fair because it's free. You know what I mean? Like it's anybody can download it. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll play it. And then the toy box takes forever to build. On the iPad, it's so hard to build sometimes. So of course you're going to spend so much time on the iPad because you're trying to figure it out. But to be honest with you, I just again I don't feel like Infinity is a good free-to-play game, and I don't feel that the excuse that they gave about Sam and Cora was completely truthful. This is again my opinion. I feel like something happened in the back burner or whatever, and behind the scenes, and they couldn't figure out how to get Sam and Cora into the game fast enough. But obviously, it's easier on a PC or an iOS device or mobile device for that matter. because you don't have to shell out any figures or anything like that. So they decided to spin it around and say, hey, let's make it seem like it's a digital exclusive,
Yeah.
which I don't buy. I don't buy that. I still to this day don't buy it. I feel like they are coming. It's another one of those Crystal Mickey issues, just, hey, we didn't get everything into the game we wanted on time, so we'll just spin it this way. But anyways, aside from console versus iOS gaming, love the fact that it's available for multiple devices. Again, it leaves people who do have just the iPad and don't have a console. It does give them the opportunity to play, which is great. Um, I am happy that it's going to Vita, only because DS was left out this year. You know what I mean? So, whoa, what's up with the little portable gaming consoles? You have. I honestly see that as a third type of device. You have your main consoles, you have your mobile devices, and you still have the portable gaming devices, which are strictly, your DS and your Vita. And DS to be left out, at least Vita is getting it. So
Yeah.
that type of gamer is still included. So,
Yeah.
you know, go
I mean,
ahead. I
on
knew
the
you were gonna chime in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, on the the DS Vita version, I think obviously like the Vita is kind of more like a PlayStation 3.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what it's built around. So therefore, it's got the horsepower to run 2.0. I think
yeah,
last year with Disney Infinity, they got a different game. I haven't actually played that one, but it
right.
wasn't the same game that we saw ourselves. And so the big problem was, I don't think the DS is powerful enough to run 2.0, and that is purely, it's a bit like why it's not on the Wii anymore. They couldn't work it around, and maybe the last game didn't sell well enough to make it worthwhile doing a DS version.
Yeah,
The thing is with multi-platform game is it's on all the platforms, so it's great from the point of view that more people can play it. Everyone can play it. There's no exclusive. You've got to have this console. You've got to have that. Works, and that works good. My problem with this uniformed approach is it actually now starting to affect the game because they're trying to do too much. They're going to have to basically make the game for the lowest console or the lowest piece of equipment running. And anything above that just gets it looking a little bit pretty. They have to make the game work on the lowest game and then work it up. And does that mean the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are getting essentially this? They're not getting the full potential because the smaller ones can't handle it.
I agree with you there.
And also this whole thing of trying to play it on different consoles and different pieces of equipment, it feels like the game is too big for doing what they're trying to do. And is it taking away from development time? Is it not being, is it easier to port to different games? But if it's affecting that game overall because they're trying to put too much out, it seems to be the problem. And that's where I'm starting to look at this game going, did we not get this and did not get this because they can't fit on because they've got to be putting it onto a little Android device. I've got a PlayStation 4. Why it shouldn't? I should feel like, why should I get a smaller version that's on a little free Android device? And that's my kind of one concern. If they keep going forward with this idea that one game fits all, every console's slightly different, and they've got to be careful with it.
Well, I remember last year when I was at E3, that's the whole way it was pitched. Everybody said, you know what, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 owners were going to get such a better experience because our toy boxes were going to be so much bigger. But later on, closer to launch and after more developing, there was a clarification saying, oh, no, no, no. The toy boxes and everything won't be any bigger than whatever the Xbox 360 or the Wii U or the PS3 can handle. Because if you make a toy box in the PS4, we want the other people to be able to use it. So, I mean, in that sense, we already are suffering for the new gen consoles. But for mobile devices, I don't know if it has anything. The mobile devices, I don't think they'll affect us at all. Only reason why I'm saying that is clearly they have a lot of figuring out to do because they're releasing them so late in the game. The iOS is fairly new. Android's not even out yet. Vita is barely coming out next month. I mean, it's. I feel like they either are tweaking it or figuring out. I don't know if they're included in the big console bunch or the PC bunch. But iOS, at least, they do, because you can at least build it and then transfer it over to your main console and build up from there. Um, but is it affecting the game in general? I think so. I mean, again, not to bring up Trongate and everything, but that's one thing that affected everybody immediately. You know what I mean? Like, you went from wanting to have all your games in all consoles and being fair to everybody and saying that we want everybody to have everything available to everybody. We're not Amiibo, everybody gets it, but then we don't, because console gamers did not get Sam and Cora, or at least not now. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, we don't even know if the Android version is going to be even the same or better. Everybody, especially with Android, you have so many different devices that run off of the Android system. Who knows what devices can handle Infinity? I mean, if you're telling me your iPad is full, I can imagine how many people are going to struggle with the Android versions. So.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even put it on my iPhone because there wasn't enough space. But this is something else that I thought of this week was, should the free-to-play mobile versions be a slightly different version of the game? What I was thinking of, could you imagine like having the mobile device where all you could do was download everybody else's toy boxes? You could go on, you could download it, and you could play it. But you can't actually build in the mobile device because basically the equipment isn't up to doing it. Would that make the game be easier for them to get it out quicker, and also would it bring more people into the game because they can just play it and do what they want? And if you want to build it, you've got to buy you've got to buy the game. That's where I'm sort of was looking at it, going, well, maybe they need to kind of, rather than trying to put this one thing onto everything, make a light version, a smaller version that's more capable of running on different devices than trying to do the one game fits all. Because, like you say, once they get onto these Android devices and stuff, there's so much more. It's harder to judge. They know when they're putting it out on the consoles. They know what they're working with. They've got the limitations. So that, I don't know what you want to think of that idea.
Well, I was going to say you're completely onto something, and actually I'll actually add to it. I feel that the big mobile devices that can handle it, like the iPad, or maybe some Galaxy tablet for the Android or whatever, they should release a toy box version that is very generic, that only allows you to do like a skeleton of whatever toy box you want to build, and then you can upload it into your toy boxes so you can build it on your console later. As far as little mobile devices go, I feel like and they should just have playset only. And I'm not saying you go out and buy a playset. I'm saying like you can just play the playsets without needing to buy the toys at all. You can just buy them digitally and play them that way. And the only reason why I say that is this is why the Skylanders Trap Team game works very well on the iPad, because you are not constantly changing or building anything new. The game is already built, and you are just playing this game.
Yeah.
With Infinity, you are building the game, which is really knocking out all the juice on your mobile device, killing the battery, killing the processing, not to mention killing up all the space. It's just a different experience. I don't think it's a type of game that is built for mobile devices, to be honest with you. I mean, it's great that it's available and they've tried to make it work, but out of all the people, at least I know there's people out there who are using it on the iPad and they love it and it's great. Power to them, you know what I mean? Good for you guys that it's working out. But out of all the people that I know that have played it in the mobile device, including you, Roger, I mean, all I hear is, the buttons are difficult, or it's slow, or like you said, my memory is all. It's like you almost need to have a separate iPad just to play Infinity. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think the trouble is when they went to the size of the file. I'm just thinking of trying. The toy box itself. I mean, it almost feels like they're trying to do too much with it at once. And I understand that they've taken the playsets out of the mobile devices, and that kind of makes sense because there's not enough. I mean, if they put the playsets into the iPad version, I mean, I'd need 2 iPads just to fit it all on. But this brings me back to this next thing of a console player has to go out and they have to buy the play. We go out and we buy the starter pack when it comes out, say for £50. We then buy all the figures, we buy all the play sets, and Disney Infinity 2 and I brought all the power discs. Probably spent £300-400 on all my Infinity items. I then get the iPad version. It's free, and people can pay a lot less, a couple of pounds for a figure or a digital figure. But it's like, well, and then telling me it's the most game. Well, why have I spent all this money on it? Now everyone's just playing it for free. And if they're going to go down the free-to-play, put the game out on the console for free, and then you have to buy your extra products if you want the figures or if you want the play sets, etc. It's like, do it for one or do it for all of us. It feels a very kind of, well, if you're on the console, you have to pay for it. But if you're on the iPad, you can have it for free. You just
let us give you some exclusive figures too, just for the hell of it.
It feels very. I think that's it's the thing with obviously if you're on the iPad version, if the only way they're getting a lot of the toys is you have to buy the play sets or you have to buy them. So there's a lot. If you don't have all the figures or all the play sets, you can't do a lot on the iPad version. A lot of it is locked down. There's a lot. If you want to play that toy, it's locked. You want to use that toy, it's locked. I mean, when you first get it and you haven't added anything in, there is hardly any sort of things to do. And that's why I'm saying it's like, maybe I think they've spread themselves too thin. And I would say if you could go on and just download people's toy boxes and play them on the device, I think that would work well because people could just play it. But I think trying to do everything for everybody is, I don't know if it's working. I don't know where the devices are going to go in the future because there's going to be so many people that are going to, the PC version, it runs so slow I can't use it. Well, that's the problem with PC games. That's why things like Candy Crush work because they simplified it down so everyone could play it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. In fact, I'm even bold enough to say that there should be a completely different Infinity game for mobile devices.
I think there's this thing of, I can see there's a big mobile devices now are the huge game. There's some kids now and some people coming in, they only play games on a mobile device or a tablet. They are the new consoles. There are kids that are playing games that never have even touched a console, but they're playing everything on their pad. So they have to include it now. There's no way they can't ignore it. But the one game fits all maybe doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I mean, it needs to be separately, a completely different game for mobile devices. Something where, like you got a big example, and especially with Star Wars Celebration coming up. You have Battlefront that's going to be demoing that you play on consoles, but then you also have a game that's called Star Wars Commander, which is for mobile devices. Same world, different game, but similar experience because it's in the Star Wars universe. So it's, to me, I feel like they should have like a different type of Infinity game, kind of like you had for the DS, that works just for the mobile, that doesn't conflict with all the console gamers. I mean, I still think there should be, like I said, a little like a generic toy box building app that you can use to simplify or blueprint your toy box when you're on the go, and then you can use it later on your console. But for the mobile devices, and again, no disrespect to anybody who loves Infinity with mobile, but I just feel like the free-to-play, at least the free-to-play category doesn't work, in my opinion. Like you said, the whole one game fits all, I don't think really works. But these are all opinions, these are all speculation. Whatever you guys think, prove us wrong or agree with us, go ahead and leave those in the comments.
I mean, I was going to say, because a lot of people have been, there are a few people that have been using the control pad with the iPad version and saying that it's really improved things and it's a lot more easy to use. And it's like, well, if you're having to use a controller, an artificial addition to get the game to work properly, then the game, that's not really what it's supposed to be touchscreen and it's supposed to be doing it.
Yeah.
I love the idea that it's that thing of the advantages of the mobile device is huge. And there's a lot of money to be made, and it's a big market. So they can't ignore it. So I'm not saying...
That we agree.
it's the fact is, I think it's like now, you've got the console version came out in September. This Vita version. There is a part of me that thinks, was it originally maybe not coming onto it, and then Sony kind of said, well, we want you to put it on there as well. Can you do it? Because that's the way I think with the Vita version. I think it was either really delayed or it wasn't designed straight away. Because it kind of feels like, well, if the entire game is on the Vita version, why is it coming out in May, and why wasn't it out? Because I have this other thought of, well, if 3.0 is on the Vita as well, are we going to get 3.0 that then like when the next game comes out, we're going to get 2 versions in a year? You could easily have that.
Yeah, I'm on you on that thought. I kind of feel the same way. I feel like it wasn't originally planned to have it on Vita, but then when Sony, I know, what was it? Disney approached Xbox for exclusivity, but Sony, they said no, but Sony came back and said, hey, we'll do it. And I think maybe that's what Sony also wanted, that, hey, can you do the Vita too? And because that wasn't in the works, they probably needed time to make it work. And that's where I was gonna say that's where I also think Black Suit Spider-Man came out of nowhere, because they needed to add a little flair to the whole Vita launch. So I don't know. These are all, again, speculation. These are all just ideas that are coming out of our heads.
I don't like the idea that the Vita version is £50, and I'm going, £50. I got the PlayStation 4 version for that price with 3 figures, and I'm getting.
You only get one in a playset, yeah. Yeah,
it does feel a little bit like that's a bit expensive. But the thing is with the Vita is there is not a lot of new. They don't have a lot of new game, big AAA kind of big blast games. There's weekly games coming through through indie games. The PSP has a lot of, or the PS Vita has a lot of new releases from the Vita, from smaller games.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of these really big titles come through. So Infinity is kind of one in, you go on the pre-order section, there's not a lot there. But Infinity is a big deal for Vita owners. It's going to be one of the bigger games for it. And that's where, again, it's a bit late to the game, but it's slightly different to the mobile thing.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I feel like here in the States, not everybody's gonna want to pay the starter, the full price for the starter pack for the Vita. However, only those who own Vita, maybe, or even PS TVs, because they're gonna function like the Vita.
Did they get reduced in the US recently?
What's up?
Did the PlayStation TV recently get reduced in the US? Because I know it went from £90 to £45 here in the UK.
Yeah, I can even buy one used at GameStop for a lot cheaper too. It's like, yeah, not a lot of people are buying them. But what was I gonna say? But I have a feeling here in the States that they're gonna be full price, not for too long, maybe for a month, and then you'll start seeing them discounted. I don't feel like, unless they don't make that many PS Vita versions or expansion packs or starter packs. I don't know why I said expansion.
Yeah.
Unless they don't make that many, but I highly doubt that. They're not Nintendo. They don't have limited releases. I'm sure they're gonna have plenty for those who want to get it. But hey, you accidentally bought one, so you can totally tell us how it is.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I was planning on taking my if I'm at work or something like that on a quiet rainy day. I'm like, well, I can't actually. My iPad, it just, like I said, the game has never really worked. It was so you couldn't play the weekly toy boxes because you're jumping and I couldn't control it. It was just all over the place. You want to jump up, but you want to then fly. You've got to jump up, tap it, and move it. But I think you're flying, and then to turn it off, it doesn't feel as nice as on a control pad. So I thought with the PSP that will make it better. I keep saying PSP, but it's PS Vita.
Because that's what it used to be called a long time ago. But yeah,
well, I did used to have one. I did actually used to have a PSP until I turned it into a brick by dropping it. But yeah, I think this whole thing with the mobile devices. There's so much potential, and it's a huge market. And it's like they have to do something with it, and they've got to make it as good as possible, but it feels just late in the game. You know, there is that kind of thing of, well, we put out the free-to-play version after the console people, so the console people get it first. Yeah, yeah, if you're going to make us pay £50 for a starter pack, yeah, I expect that I shouldn't be able to, on the same day, go and buy it on the, or get it for free on the iOS. That, you know, I can see why if they did that, that would seriously knock people's, because everyone would be like, well, I'll just download it on the iPad, play it, see if I like it, and then if I like it, I might buy it in the sale at Christmas, kind of thing. So I can see why they have to delay it. They can't do it all on the same day. But it does feel like the mobile side of it's coming on the side, because they did, when they did 1.0. I mean, a lot of people, like you say, you know, when I played it 1.0 on my iPad, it worked pretty well. I was using it for 2.0. I was downloading, putting things on it, and then uploading it to my cloud, and then adding on to it afterwards with my PS4. But the 2.0 was so big, in so many controls, it didn't seem to be as fluid. I think 1.0 worked because the button, you only had attack and jump. That's all you had a character could do. I think once you had flying and double jumps and special moves and combo moves,
and
that's when the iOS version, I feel, started to, I couldn't control it because you had to do all these different actions, and it was, I mean, there would probably be kids going, well, yeah, it's really easy. Yeah, the more you use it, because then the minute I sit down on my PS4 at night and start using it again, you're resetting your memories. Old folk like me, you know, that's what happens. Once you go on to another console, you forget how, and you jump between them. It's a little bit more tricky.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Yeah, I think the console versus iPad, it shouldn't, or the mobile devices, that shouldn't really be how it's aimed at. But that's how it's kind of felt, I think, to a lot of the console owners anyway.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, again, not to exclude mobile device owners, but I don't feel like those who play on the mobile devices should be included in the whole number. Like when they do their tally or their charts about who plays Infinity the most, like it should be a completely different category. They can't compare to those console gamers because, I mean, you have a mobile device, you're always on the go, you're gonna have it, it's convenient. So you're going to pull up Infinity, but then again, it was also free. So it's like you can't. Yeah, no, it's a different measurement. So you can't really exclude console gamers and say you can't have this because we want to do something special for our bigger customer base, which is that's not right. Especially if I feel like I spent close to $700 or something on 2.0, so it's like not cool.
I mean, I think, like, I'm gonna look back to how Skylanders Trap Team dealt with the mobile version, and they came out with a mobile starter pack, and they came out with, you know, and I think it's been a big success. And I'm looking at that thinking, there again, it's just, would it be more easier to make the whole game, and I've said this before, if you make the whole game free to download on every device, and then you have one starter pack for all the devices with the figures and the little web codes if you want it, and therefore they'll have less product on the shelf because they only want one. They only need to stock one starter pack. And if the game is available for free on all the devices, you know, if you can go straight on there on day one and download it on the PS4 or the Xbox or the Wii U, you know, we're not at that point yet, but I think it's coming. I think eventually they are going to go down that road because the Toys to Life category is just exploding, and stores are not going to have enough space for, you know, the Toy Box starter pack, the Marvel starter pack, you know, then you got all the different devices, and I think this is where, you know, they could maybe change that or go down a different route of maybe not even do a starter pack and just have everything out available. Look at Sick Bricks, for example, is a new line that's launched that's only on devices, and they have play sets and figures out in the stores. But the game is completely free to download on, but you need to buy the product in reality to get it. You know, we don't know what Lego are going to be doing with theirs.
Yeah, that's true. It's Oh, like you said, maybe in the future. It's just too early for that, especially consoles. I mean, you're gonna want a game from Disney Interactive to actually cater to the console companies. So it's like you're gonna have to have a PlayStation disc
Mm.
or an Xbox disc. But later on, who knows? Well, once discs are done with and everything's all download, then different ball game.
Yeah. I mean, some people sort of say, well, why don't they just make everything digital? I mean, there's this whole on that game trailers show last week. The woman that came on was talking about, well, why is everyone getting so upset about having DLC? Everyone should be used to it by now. And it's like, but you haven't created a game where the whole point of it is to have a physical product. If the whole game was digital only, no one would be caring about Core or Tron or anything like that.
Yeah,
But because
exactly.
you can't have two pieces of the pie, you can't sell us all the power discs and the figures and the play sets as physical objects and then turn around and go, whoop, you can't. We want digital now. You've either got to pick you've got to pick where you're going. You
Agreed.
I don't think with Infinity you can mix and match.
Yeah.
You can have the digital. You can have the real version with the digital version. But once we're getting onto just digital only, people that were buying stuff were like, no, they don't want. That didn't. And like you said, people that are buying the physical thing are shelling out more money, and that's
Yeah.
where the problem comes. Is you can download the iOS version for £1.69 or £2.20, whatever it was. Or I think it's at $3 in the US for a character. But if you're going out and buying a full figure, you're making a much bigger investment overall, and I think that's the issue with free to play versus the console.
Yeah, well, yeah, like you said, don't forget what category you're in. I mean, when you chose to be in a Toys to Life game category, you are to do just that, have toys that come to life. I was totally cool with, if you want to do something digital exclusive to the PC owners, go ahead and give them that one variant suit that, like what was it, Glow Buzz
Yeah.
for 1.0, and then there was like a Baymax in the gray suit. Okay, cool. That doesn't hurt me as much, but like a whole complete character, yeah, it almost feels like, okay, here's all the money that I threw at you, and now you're saying, oh, we want to cater to those who use the game the most, which is our digital customers. Yeah, no.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this whole thing of when they brought up this information of, oh, the 80% of people spend time in the toy box, and the iPad is the biggest one. Well, if you're on the iPad 1.0 app, you only were in the toy box, so the numbers were being skewed so much heavily towards the toy box because you had your biggest install base only using one area that the other they couldn't have access to. If you
Yeah,
so therefore the data was when they turn around and gone, everybody
it's
plays the toy
misconstrued.
box. Well, yeah, no wonder, because in 2.0 that number's going to be even higher. It can be like 95% of the time you were in the toy box because that's what you want. Well, that's kind
Well,
of
not to mention there was only 3 playsets, so it's like I haven't touched my playsets in a while. Yeah, it's just, yeah, those numbers aren't fair, but yeah, the free to play, it's awesome. It's great. It's awesome for those who have the devices that can play it. Um, but you can't really bunch it up with the console gamers. It's just not. It's not
no.
a fair statistic.
Like I said, I think because obviously because I've brought the physical version, I can put the web code in and I can unlock the item on the digital version, which I have got to say, that is a big plus. Had the iPad, I don't put the Toy Box startup games, the Toy Box game discs on my iPad, and I've played them. And when I was on a plane, that worked really well. So that was good. When I look at the Skylanders, they don't do that. If you want, I had a big pile full of boxes of Skylanders figures, but when I played Trap Team on my iPad, no, you have to buy them again. I'm like, well, no, I've already brought them. So at least Disney Infinity didn't do that, because that would have really kind of been an issue. I don't think people would have paid twice for it. But
Yeah.
there we go. My iPad, you had a choice. You either had one game or the other. That was you could only have it. I think with the iPad, Disney Infinity was like the first game that could go over a certain size of, I think it was 2 gig limit or something like that. So it was the first real big heavy game that they put onto the device. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on out with, are they just going to start putting console games on these devices because that's where the money is and where people are playing? It's hard to tell. It's hard to know where they're going to go in the future. Mobile isn't going anywhere. It's just going to continue to get.
Oh yeah, that for sure. Yeah, no.
The mobile, these tablets and etc. They are just going to continue to grow, and we're going to have to. They're going to have to find that happy balance of what they're trying to do. If they're going to, and at the minute, I think that's where the big Trongate backlash was. That kind of was part of this whole issue of console owners going, we don't like this. This is not like iPad owners and the mobile devices weren't worried. They couldn't understand what the problem was. But I think the console owners did not like that aspect to the mobile version.
Yeah, because I guess another way to spin it is, if I'm an iOS Infinity player, I can go out and buy a Loki figure, and I have the card there, and the card's going to give me the code so I can play on my iPad. However, I, as a console gamer, can't go onto my PS4 and download Salmon Cora. You know what I mean? I can't do that. It's a little one-sided there. So, yeah. Well, again, it just needs to be equal. It needs to be the same.
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, there's a way of, if they've either got to make it equal or they've got to adjust how they're doing it. And I think it'll be really great to hear what everyone thinks of this subject, because it's a kind of it's a real kind of divisive sort of talk, because you've got iPad players and Android players. Android ones are probably they're hungry for something. They're like, give us the game, because there's nothing worse than being on Android and iOS getting everything. I used to have an Android, and you'd be like, I want to play this new game by Disney, and it's not out. And I want to play this, and it's not out. And I used to, and I bought an iPhone, but it was that thing of so many new apps weren't available on the iOS on Android, and the big problem with Android is because it's so varied. I mean, I've got some Android devices in my drawer. I think they would have a hard job running anything. Even just texting gets a bit to a point, that's where I can see why the mobile devices are a difficulty. Because then you're getting into the PC specs where you need this, and this to be able to play it. Console, you just pick it up. That's why I've always hated PC gaming, because I just remember having to constantly upgrade my PC all the time, and I just got fed up of you buy the new game, and it doesn't work. I have a laptop that does not play the game. Well, I can't keep going out and buying new equipment all the time. I buy a PS4, that's going to be sorted for 3-4 years or maybe longer.
Yeah, if you are, because I used to be one of these, but if you are like a hardcore PC gamer, the only way your computer is ever going to work perfectly is if you build your own from scratch, and you overbuild it to the point where it can handle the heaviest game out there, and it'll last you for like 5-6 years of upgrades. Like, you won't have to, because that thing will run fine. But otherwise, you buy a stock computer, you're gonna have to keep upgrading your video card, then your cooling fan and everything, just so to keep up with gaming. And I totally feel you with Infinity, because it makes the fan inside this Apple computer like go like crazy, overheat so fast. So yeah.
Yep, I think that pretty much is going to sort of round up after this sort of mobile sort of discussion. I think it's one that's just going to keep running and running, and hopefully things will get a bit better. We are now into April. We are into that zone where now everyone is starting to go, all the figures are out, everything's happening. You announced Marvel this time last year, and I'm going to put this straight out the bat. Right, so year one, they announced a lot of stuff in January. And I think they announced a few more characters, I think, at like Comic-Con or something like that. Last year, they did what they did with the Marvel. They made that announcement. And everyone kind of jumps on the thing of, well, they did that last year, they're going to do the exact same thing this year. Well, it was only year 2. They could go, well, like, this worked last year, this didn't work. They could have an entirely different strategy. What they saw last year they might not do anything of the same kind. They might come out with everything at once, like they did with 1.0. They might spread things out again. They might be stricter on this. We can't all just assume that they're going to follow word for word what they did last year, because they didn't do that the year before.
Yeah. I'm going to go and say, we all know, we all speculate, there's huge rumor, we all know that Star Wars is going to have to be it. Again, no confirmation, but it has to. If I were to play out what you're saying based on last year we had a little teaser trailer before we had the announcement event. And if you guys remember, it was just the Captain America shield flying all over the place. We didn't see anything. We didn't see any other characters, just that shield going all over the place, and we saw all the 1.0 people.
Yeah. Did you see the? Yeah, I was going to say, Disney have started the hype. This week, April 1st, they did play a prank on us all. They put out that video going,
oh yeah.
You've listened. Oh, we've listened. Here you go. And then suddenly you got all the they did that whole Henry, it's your birthday and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, they know what they know we're waiting, so they've started to play on us already.
Yeah. So my guess, I honestly have two guesses here. My guess is, if I'm lucky, because I'm going to be at Star Wars Celebration, my guess is they'll either announce it there, or my second guess would be that they give us that little teaser trailer there, and something that Roger and I had spoken about a while back, and he said that if there is to be an announcement outside of Star Wars Celebration, it's going to be on May the 4th, because that kind of ties into a lot with Star Wars. Now, one thing that you just said earlier that I disagree with, I think they are going to do something similar to what they did in 2013 with 1.0, is at D23, even though D23 is going to be really, really close to game launch, in 2013 they had the exact same thing where they had announced a series of characters, and I think it was like maybe about 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the game came out, at D23 they had a specific little panel. They announced the remaining roster of characters that were going to be released later on in the following year. So for us it would be 2016. So I have a feeling they're going to do something like that as well at D23. But as far as an announcement for what this 3.0 thing is going to be, I think it's going to be one of those two things. It's either going to be, like I said, a full-out unveiling at Star Wars Celebration, or the teaser is going to come out there, and we'll get an announcement on May the 4th. But what do you think, Roger?
I think first with D23, I think it would be too late for any announcements. They might make 1 or 2 character announcements, but end of August, too late in the game for if it's out in September, or if it's out in August like 1.0 was, it's too late. 2.0 was in September, so I think D23, they'll have lost E3, Comic-Con, so that's the thing I feel on D23. I think it could be a good launch, kind of final push towards it. But as far as announcements,
I want to jump back in there though, because think about it. I mean, they could announce, X playset, this playset here, Darth Vader, yada yada, is going to come out. All the figures are going to come out at launch, but all the figures that are not going to come out at launch, why the need to announce it so early? Why not announce it when you're about to launch, to have people anticipate? That's exactly what they did with 1.0 at D23, because they announced it was Rapunzel, it was both Anna, Elsa, it was both Phineas and Perry. And and Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope. All of those
Yeah.
were announced literally 2 weeks before the game came out
Yeah.
at D23.
I
Oh,
think.
and Sir Mickey, obviously. He was a big
Yeah.
surprise.
I think they're gonna have that problem of there's a lot more rabidness around this one now. People are a lot more like, I want it. You know, they didn't have that with the first game, and also I think they're gonna need to be a little bit more upfront with people than they were last year. I think that kind of backfired. I think they are going to maybe announce a little bit more earlier on, specifically across the three brands. I think they're going to have to be a little bit more. Disney isn't just coming. This is what Disney, because that really backfired last year, and I can't see them. I can't even see if they did a sneak announcement. It's not just going to be Star Wars. They're going to have to announce some Disney characters at the same time, maybe even a Marvel character, because of the backlash they got from last year. They can't. If they come out now and say Star Wars is coming to 3.0 or whatever they want to call it, and they do not say a Disney play set or a Disney characters, there will be riots.
Oh no,
People
yeah.
will be
Well,
standing at they have. I can't see them making that same mistake.
I'm not saying they're going to not announce any of the Disney characters before D23. That's completely different. No,
Yeah.
I agree with you there. They're going to start announcing those too, and they're gonna let it percolate. They're gonna let it sprinkle out through the time. But as far as where I'm coming from, I'm saying like everything up to launch, they'll announce it throughout time. You know what's going on, and
Yeah.
at D23, I feel like that's where they're going to announce what is to come. That's not going to be out at launch. You know, they can come and they can tell us, you know, hey, we're gonna have Luke and Vader and Yoda and blah blah in this place, yada yada, and we're also gonna have Goofy and if you know Ariel, whatever, you know, up until the point where you get to D23, and then at D23 you're gonna say, oh yeah, and by the way, next year anticipate Darth Maul to come out as well,
Yeah.
or you know,
Yeah, I could see them doing a final announcement there, but yeah, I think Star Wars Celebration is kind of, I think, where a lot of people's eyes are currently to, because it's the next big Disney kind of event in California.
well,
I
especially
wouldn't
since
be
Battlefront's
surprised.
gonna be there too.
Yeah, but now it's that thing. If they got Battlefront, they've also got the Star Wars Commander. Will Disney Interactive want to share the limelight with another video game? Because
Oh, yeah.
they're all going to be fighting for press details.
But you got to understand, this is their event,
Yeah.
and you're gonna go and say, hey, this is what we have for mobile games. Star Wars Commander, check this is out. Oh, and this is what we have. This is the epic game that we didn't tell you anything about at E3. We just showed you a
Yeah.
nice little trailer. And it's Battlefront. You guys are anticipating. Oh, for those of you who like figures to go with your games,
Yeah.
boom, you know that would be epic. But again, uh, it's the next thing to come. It's Star Wars. It's a Star Wars event. It just doesn't make any sense for them not to say anything. It could just be the trailer. It could just be that sneak trailer.
Yeah.
But something would be awesome.
I think we're at that. I think a lot of people's eyes are on that, and I think there's gonna be a lot of disappointed people if it didn't come out, because I think everyone's looking to this May bit and going, "There's a big Star Wars event taking place, please." You know, and I think
You know
it's
what?
like,
I mean, you know what? I'm going in there without expectations. Only reason why I'm saying this is for all of those who went to D23 in 2013 and who went to Comic-Con in 2013. Star Wars was nothing but like a tease. Like I remember going to the D23. It was the live action movie event, and they said we're going to talk today about Star Wars, Marvel, and then Disney. And then they started Star Wars. We have a lot of great things coming, so stay tuned. And then boom, straight into Marvel. Like nothing was said
Yeah.
about Star Wars. So it's like this is the big Star Wars event before the movie comes out in December. I mean, the only other big thing that happens is Florida, the Star Wars weekends, but it's not a big Star Wars event. It's a theme park that has Star Wars stuff going on.
Yeah,
So,
I think obviously we're aware of the Star Wars weekends and they're big for people that are in the park, but outside of outside of park fans, I don't the park, it's not made as an event. There's just an event that they put on that ties in with it. So yeah, I don't really class Star Wars weekends as something anything to be announced, because it's not that kind of event. It's Star Wars weekends are about meeting people going on the attractions, dressing
Right.
up, and having merchandise. Star Wars Celebration is all about Star Wars. It's basically Comic-Con just for Star Wars.
Yeah, and you're gonna have Princess Leia or Luke. You're gonna have the actual actors. They're gonna be there. You're gonna have J.J. Abrams. He's gonna be there. And the way I see it is this: Disney had 1.0. You have your Disney fans. We're hooked. Then they announced Marvel. They brought in a brand new customer base. Ooh, Marvel fans, comic book fans. Boom. Where is the best place to reach your Star Wars fans? Where all the Star Wars fans are going to be walking and yeah, they're going to be there. They're going to be waving their lightsabers. They want new stuff. You
But
know what I
also
mean?
also online waiting for all the news.
Exactly.
So everyone.
I have. There's a disturbance in the force with me, and I have a feeling there's going to be something there. I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
not really saying it's true. I'm not saying I'm going to have any expectations, but I feel a disturbance. That's all.
You're feeling slightly. Yeah, you're feeling a little bit. Yeah, okay, it's coming. So I'm just checking here with the dates for Star Wars Celebration. So 16th to the 19th. So we're 10 days away from the start of it. Yeah, it's very much. I can. I mean, they're announcing Battlefront on. Or they're doing the trailer on the 17th. So they're not doing it on the first day. They're doing it on the second day. So if they've got 16, 18, so they've got 4 days. If they spread out the news on a different day, it'll hit all the different media outlets on a following day or the day before or whatever.
The way D23 did it, and I think this might be structured similarly. D23 did one day of all your live movies, your comic book movies, Star Wars. The next day they did all animated movies, whether it be TV, theater. And then the last day it was all about gaming. It was all Disney Interactive, mobile. Are they going to spread it out that way? I don't know, but I do have a feeling it's going to be structured that way. So we're going to have announcements separately. But one thing I did want to mention now that we're on speaking about it, the 19th obviously is a Sunday. I will be fresh back from that, and Roger and I will be having our conversation. It'll be the 20th with you, obviously, when we talk, because you guys are a day ahead of us. But I will be fresh from the event, talking to you guys, hopefully of either something new or maybe
just to tap into that. The Star Wars Commander game is going to be at the booth the whole weekend, but he's doing a talk at 2 o'clock on April the 17th, which is the same day they're releasing the trailer. So you could be onto something there with the game day.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Star Wars Commander is a fun game. There's a tournament going on right now. I'm doing really well. I'm one of the top dogs. So play that game. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I haven't played it because again, that's the same thing. I haven't got space to play it. I've got to delete Infinity to play it.
Now, one word of advice, and this is something to think about before you play, before you even start. Know off the bat what side you're going to be on, because you're either going to be part of the rebel elite or you're going to be part of the Empire. You can't be both. So you get to choose your side, and from that point, you end up playing against players who are either, they're opposed on the rebel side or they're on the Empire side. If you guys want to know, I am on the Empire side. I'm a big Darth Vader fan, as you guys have seen. So I am on the Empire. So maybe one day I'll either play with you or against you.
This is the thing. I mean, I think just in general with games, now that kind of everything falls under the same bracket, we've got Battlefront, you've got all these different devices and games. There's a lot more Disney video games out there, which is something I have been sort of bringing a little bit more onto Diz Kingdom. Is other Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney games. DuckTales is recently out. DuckTales came out on the iPad, and I'm like. And that might be why I've started to go. I want to play DuckTales. I want to play this, and I haven't got enough room for it all. And I'm going. And I played Star Wars Rebel. The new Rebels game came out on the iPad the other day, and I had a quick blast on that one. And
I'm
Yeah.
sensing a delete coming soon on
Yeah.
your
Well, what
iPad.
I think it's. This is where that is the difference with sort of, the iPad thing. When everything's on memory cards and things, it's like, ooh, overnight. If it was an Android device, I'd just go out now and buy a really big memory card, whack it in, and hopefully that would fix
Exactly.
the problem. But with an iPad, you're limited to what you got, and I don't want to go buy another new iPad with a bigger hard drive. No,
Yeah,
it was cheaper for me to pick up a cheap second-hand Vita.
exactly. But yeah, no, we got an exciting month ahead. Let's see what comes of it. So
Yeah, so pretty much I think that wraps it up. You can always let us know your comments. If you're listening on iTunes, you remember you can always subscribe there and also write a review. That would help us out. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. I did forget to mention there is a Easter giveaway I'm doing. Ends tomorrow. $25 gift certificate for Disney Store. You just have to go onto the website, find it, and you can enter that way. It's a great way of kind of being given a bit of a thing for Easter. And I also find giving a Disney Store voucher, it's great because you can choose what you want. If you're into Animations, if you're into Infinity, you can buy what you want. Sometimes you can buy what you want, and that's why I've been doing them this way, because I think it's a good way of, you can buy what you want rather than a specific item. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Big thank you to A for joining me again this week.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I think that pretty much rounds us up for episode 36. Wow. Okay,
All right,
see you guys
guys.
later.
Later. Thank you. Shout out to Max and Chris listening on their car ride. Woo!
Later, guys.
Bye.